Okay, so what is the New World Order? Let's clear the air. The right wing fears the New World Order for good reason. What is it?
The New World Order is a United States that does not have the Bill of Rights as the first 10 amendments of the Constitution of the United States. The New World Order does not think that its rights are given to it by nature or by its creator. The New World Order does not think that the individual is the supreme essence of what exists on Earth. That's my basic.
So the New World Order is a collectivism, a form of new communism, a form of new communism where wealth is redistributed to people who don't deserve it, from those who have to those who have not. In other words, it's a new form of world communism on a lighter scale. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly correct, Mike.
With a ruling elite, a small minority of trillionaires who run the earth with no power of the individual, no power to redress grievances, no power to protest, a gigantic one world, New World Order socialism is what you're saying.
Yes, and individuals no longer look up to the clouds and the sky and the stars. They look down at their feet and the dirt and the bugs.
My friend, I agree with you 100%. That's why George Bush is erasing our border with Mexico and Canada. That's why he's building 6 superhighways from Mexico without a congressional approval where Mexican trucks can come in unchecked. What is that all about? Why would he be doing that without the Congress stopping him? How is that possible?
Michael,
it's incomprehensible that this man would be acting as a dictator, but I'm starting to fear he is. I'm starting to fear he is a dictator.
Exactly what you just... No, he's a puppet to the dictators. He's a puppet to the dictators. You know what's happening, Michael. It's why so many people want you to run for office. They think it's their last chance.
Yeah, well, they're crazy. I can't do it. I don't look. If Michael Bloomberg, a liberal big city mayor who is for everything that you oppose, is going to put $1 billion of his own fortune to run for the presidency, how in the world can a man without any power, money, or connection do so? How is it possible for any honest man to win any campaign in this country, let alone the big kahuna?
You just said it. It's not. It's impossible. It's
impossible. Moreover, one would bring danger upon themselves and their family if they did so. I mean, let's be very clear. Let's be very clear. You know, at that point, all bets are off as to one's safety.
Conversation brings danger and threatens our safety.
You think I don't know that? You think I don't know this every day that I go on the radio? You think I sleep well at night? I don't.
You sleep well at night?
I don't. I'm paying a very high price for this. This is not entertainment for me. I use entertainment as a vehicle to make people listen to what I'm talking about, and a man like you understands what I'm really talking about and gets it.
We finally have achieved the point in America where you got to say to yourself, do I want to live forever or do I want to live free? And I think it's...
Well, you know what I want you to do tonight? Go on to michaelsavage.com and look at the bottom left story, the Chinese Cultural Revolution, remembering Mao's victims, and how socialism in China led to the Red Revolution and what happened to people in that country, how many millions were killed by Mao Zedong.
I will do that, Michael.
And the reason I want you to do that is because there are people in this country who would gladly line up conservatives and shoot them against the wall. You know that, don't you, Jack?
Well, those are mentally insane people.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're mainstream progressives. They would gladly line up thousands of people against the wall and shoot them if they had the power to do so and think they could get away with it. They're no different than the Bolsheviks in 1917. I'll be right back.
Savage.
Now, let me summarize for you why I oppose the New World Order and why I oppose the candidacies of virtually all of them and what I fear the most. I fear the communist murderers the most. Let me start at the top of the pyramid. What is one-worldism? What do we on the conservative right mean by one-worldism? What do we mean by this? To the average person, what does it mean to you? It means doing business with the communist murderers of China, for example. It means doing business with the Islamic fascist murderers of Iran behind the scenes, even though they tell us that They aren't. They probably are through the United Arab Emirates. So in other words, they're doing business with people who, if they gain total control over our economy, they have de facto gained control over us. And we all fear that they've already done so by currency manipulation and by buying our technology, by building parts for our jets and our tanks, parts that the jets and tanks could not run without. The communist murderers and their Arab brethren, along with the Russian bear, in many ways frighten me deeply. I fear that they will kill us, not just control us. I fear that there will be vast factories of slave labor in this country and vast factories of people being murdered. Would you like to know the extent of my paranoia? Because I'll give it to you. If you think that this is insane, then go and watch replays of the Super Bowl, or go watch some of the boys in the empty suits tonight talk to you about Super Tuesday. No, it's the communist murderers that I worry about. And it didn't just start with Bush. It didn't start with Clinton. It didn't start with Nixon. It really started soon after World War II with Dwight D. Eisenhower, if you actually want to study it. It was Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was generally seen as a nice grandfatherly figure, who started the whole road that we're on. He wanted to wipe out national boundaries for economic interests. You say, well, all right, what's wrong with that? I mean, personally, I'm for free trade. I understand what trade is all about. But we don't have free trade. I don't think you understand that. If we had free trade between our country and all others, I'd be all for it. But that's not what even Eisenhower wanted. They wanted our trade barriers removed so that every country on earth could dump their garbage in the United States while we still had trouble selling our products in their country. That's what's going on right now. If you know anything about business, if you are in the export business, you know that I know what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to sell American products overseas, by the way. And don't let any sophomoric politician deceive you and tell you that free trade is good for you. If it's so good for you, why is there such discord in the United States of America today with regard to, A, the loss of jobs, the loss of factories, and let's put aside the esoterics, the loss of national pride. Let's put that aside. Let's deal in hard, pragmatic terms. Why has Bush deported 3 million jobs? Why has Bush deported so many factories to communist China and other places? And what does that what effects is that having upon you? We now have the sad story that even our great General Motors is second to a Japanese automobile company. You could argue that the Japanese cars are better. I would argue that it's a marginal better at that if you really look at it very carefully. The real issue here is that we are losing our nationalism if we've not lost it already. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? Isn't it nationalism that has always caused wars? Well, I'll let you answer your own question. Isn't it nationalism that has prevented you good liberal from New York, from becoming a lampshade? When Hitler and his nationalism tried to take over America and our nationalism, wasn't it the boys who grew up shooting squirrels in Texas who saved your skin? Wasn't it the boys from Tallahassee who learned how to fly those trainers who went over and bombed Schweinfurt on suicide missions? Wasn't it their belief in nationalism that has permitted you from not becoming a lampshade? It was nationalism that saved us in World War II. And it is only nationalism that can prevent the communist murderers from taking this country over, lock, stock, and barrel. Which brings me back to my primary point today. Just as the 1919 World Series was fixed by the New York gangster Arnold Rothstein, this election has been fixed by the CFR, Goldman Sachs, and the other investment banking firms of Wall Street. Not because they care a whit about America, but they care only about the bottom line. And let me tell you something else. It's not necessarily true that what's good for Goldman Sachs is good for America. It is necessarily true and absolutely true that only American nationalism can save the world. Nothing else.
Savage.
What's going on here is we have industrial labor demands and nothing but industrial labor demands that are dictating the new immigration policy. The people behind this are Sam Nunn, Richard Armitage, Brzezinski, Harold Brown, William Cohen, and Henry Kissinger. They're preparing a report to try to merge us with Mexico and Canada as soon as possible. These are the devils in the details. These are the devils who are behind the entire situation that we find ourselves in right now. These are secret roundtable sessions. They are in the hands of giant businesses, transnational businesses. These are men without a country. They have no allegiance to the United States of America. They are simply freelancers. To them, there is no tomorrow. They could be as comfortable in Switzerland as in Connecticut. To them, there is no such thing as a nation. And they want to drag us, kicking and screaming, into a new world order where there is no United States of America.